So, how do you guys?
How's it going?
Hello, Kevin. Welcome. Good, man. You?
He grabbed you.
Oh, I know. We got Billy Canola here. So my last one had
Yeah.
Okay. Well, besides that presentation today, correct? What was your 10-year start? And it was like 1.5 and it's like nobody will do that, right? That's it. I got to start somewhere. He said somebody on the commission, and I didn't know. It was like, yeah. Okay. Oh God, those guys are screwed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And he and all is it.
Good, man. Watch out, yeah, you got it.
That's good. So you said well,
That's a different entity.
on the same website.
Well, thanks for helping us out, man.
Yeah, we know it.
Almost.
How have you been? Was it
16 days. Thanks. Yes. I've only been to your wife. Nothing international.
Leroy, how are you, my man? Good, you. Good, Oh, yeah. the grandson's son, when you go over, whatever, the guy that our best records
Clean for the day.
Remember? I made sure that my mic worked. I forgot.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a mic in the other place. I never think to check the mic.
We have 27 guests coming next week.
Oh,
We've told the caterer and
you let
I
Ian
need
and
10
Brad know?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need 10 tables here
Okay.
at least.
All right. I think so.
I
Testing.
just want to let
Yep.
you know.
Thank you. All right. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Florence, serving all Boone County. Mark, there you are. Mark is going to do our prayer pledge and four-way test for us.
It's three things she's asked me to do, and at my age, I hope I'll remember them all. Okay, but let's get a little serious first. And by the way, it's wonderful to hear all this chatter. You're really having a good time today. Yeah, good to hear all that. All right, let's pray. Lord, thank you for this time of fellowship and business interaction and just having a good time. And we ask that you bless our time together, as well as give us even more opportunities to provide service to Boone County and beyond. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Do the pledge. Where is it? Oh, it's up there. All right. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, for those of you who are new, every time we meet, we do what's called the four-way test, which is here on this banner. So the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? I remembered all three.
Thank you. All right, announcements. Don't forget, and it looks like several of you are taking this to heart, don't forget to invite friends and colleagues to our meetings. There is always room for more. So don't forget that. Save the date. The Paul Harris Foundation Dinner is Tuesday, April 11th at 6:30 at the Triple Crown Country Club. A few more dates to save. We have an upcoming Rotary Club fundraiser on May 4th with Panda Express. As we get closer to that, I'll send out and let you know some more information. We have a club service opportunity at Miracle League Fields on Saturday, May 13th. More information to come on that. Dick Wilkinson Clay Shoot, tentative date of Saturday, June 10th. Start getting your teams together, be ready for that. And we have the golf outing on Friday, October 6th. Save the date. We also have, do I have more? Yes, sorry, I had to make sure I was matching up. District 6740, the Rotary Conference, is April 28th and 29th in Pikeville. If you are interested in that, let me know. I can share out the agenda. It looks like a really good conference. I'm highly recommending that you attend. And then if you want, I knew there was one more addition. World Water Day is March 22nd, so that is Wednesday. Be looking for more information. We'll share some information out that Rotary sent out this morning. And if you want to learn more about Rotary, they offer all sorts of webinars and training modules through DACDB and My Rotary. So just let us know and we can help get you hooked up with that. Happy dollars. Anybody have something happy that happened this last week or that you're looking forward to in this upcoming week to share with the group? Julie.
I have two of them. One, I don't seem to be suffering from jet lag. So I got back about 7 o'clock last night from Dubai. Traveled for about 24 hours for the last 24 hours. Had a fantastic time. Got to meet my new great niece. So she's 6 months old. And my daughter just sent me a text a little bit ago. She just received the Jenna scholarship, which is $3,000 this year.
All right.
Nice. Anyone else have a happy dollar?
I do. My 10-week-old granddaughter rolled over.
Oh. Anyone else? No? All right. We want to wish happy birthday to Matt Webster and Don Volland. Birthday. Yeah. There you go. I like the way you think on that.
This is not a happy buck, but in response to Sean Carroll's happy buck, so did the University of Kentucky.
Oh.
Very unhappy buck. Thank you.
Oh. So, just a reminder that you can connect your Kroger Plus card to Kroger Community Rewards so that the Rotary Club can get some funds from that. And then I would like to invite Marcus up to introduce our guests for today.
Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon, gentlemen and ladies that are here. It's going to be a good program today. I always enjoy programs that talk about our future, what's going to happen, and prediction and this type of a thing. So as Rotarians, we can participate and think about it. The work done by Boone County Planning Commission and an overview of the county-wide comprehensive plan will be the topic of discussion today by the Director of Community Development Services, Jenna LeCount. You know, I did some research, went to their webpage and looked, and 135,968 population in Boone County. We're the 4th largest county in Florida. We were founded in 1798. Anybody here remember that? Okay, no, I'm sorry. And we have 42 miles of riverfront. Interesting statistics about us as being a county and what's going on, and we're going to learn so much about it. And the Boone County Planning Commission's goal is to serve the citizens and the business community efficiently and effectively, providing public information and involvement in planning efforts to maintain a diverse character of our Boone County and to anticipate and prepare for future growth and preservation. Jenna is a professional planner with nearly 2 decades of local and county level public sector experience in the Greater Cincinnati area. She holds a bachelor's degree in urban planning from the University of Cincinnati's College of Design and Architecture, Art and Planning, and a master's degree in business administration from Xavier University, Williams College of Business. Jenna is a certified planner through the American Planning Association's American Institute of Certified Planners, and in her role as a Director of Community Development Services, Jenna oversees the planning, preservation, and community development activities for the Boone County Planning Commission, where she is aiming to bridge the gap between long-range planning efforts and impactful economic development within the county. With her today is the Executive Director, Kevin Costello of the Business Plan. Welcome you, Kevin, as well to it. Jenny, without further ado, Jenna.
Thank you, Mr. Zillman. How was everyone today? Great. So as Mr. Zillman mentioned, we have a little over 135,000 in population here in Boone County. And we are actually projected to grow quite significantly in the coming decades. And by 2040, we are expected to surpass the Kenton County population. So we're growing, and we're growing faster than most of our peers. With that growth, we hold a couple of high-ranking titles within the state as well as across the country. We are ranked very highly in health. I believe we're still ranked number one county in Kentucky in health. We are rated in the top 100 for population growth, force, and labor market in the nation. And we are ranked second in job growth in Kentucky. So we're ranked really highly. We're growing very quickly, and we want to make sure that we plan for that growth and do it well so that we all can have a better quality of life into the future. Another note on growth, it's not just population where we are growing. Our real property values have increased significantly over the past several decades. Back in 1985, real property value was at $1.3 billion. And I believe as of 2022, we were just over $18 billion. So we're growing, and we're growing a lot, and we're doing really well financially. So what is the Boone County Planning Commission? We are a joint city-county planning commission formed under KRS 100. That is our enabling legislation. And that piece of legislation is very important to us. It dictates a number of things that we do. We were formed in 1966. We are now a 15-member volunteer board representing the Boone County Fiscal Court, City of Florence, City of Walton, City of Union. So 4 legislative bodies that we answer to and help move forward with our development. Those citizen volunteer board members come from various backgrounds. This includes law enforcement, education, real estate, agriculture, architecture, engineering, law, construction, financial industry, energy. Some are retired, goes on and on, some in manufacturing. There's a very wide variety of backgrounds included in who represents our community on the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission is staffed by 16 professionals, 15 right now. I do have a position opening if anybody knows of a good senior planner. Looking for some applications. But 16-member staff. We specialize in land use planning, transportation planning, architecture, historic preservation, zoning, GIS, and some other fields as well. We also we contract with some technical advisors on the legal end of things, surveying, engineering. Our organizational structure. So that 16-member staff serves 8 different boards and the 4 legislative bodies with over 60 board members. So standing in front of a room full of civically minded individuals, if you're looking for a way to get involved, we have lots of opportunities to fall into some appointed positions, not just on the Planning Commission. I can't read my notes because it's so small here, but we have 4 different boards of adjustments, our GIS Advisory Board, the Boone County Historic Preservation Review Board, and then the Urban Forest Commission. So there are a large number of volunteer positions available, and our staff supports all of those boards. Kevin wanted me to mention that our current budget is just over $2.2 million. And we are funded through the legislative units, also with review fees, grants, and then some administrative fees as well. Our operational structure, our Planning Commission, the 15-member board, meets twice a month for business meetings and public hearings. They are also broken down into a committee structure to work through some of the work of the staff with the Planning Commission. A committee that I'm going to get very familiar with here over the next 2 years is going to be the Long Range Planning Committee, because they do focus on the comprehensive plan, which is something I'd like to talk to you about in just a minute this afternoon. I think it's important for us to understand why we plan. There's a reason that the state legislature has included comprehensive planning as law. We plan because it has been proven that planning and zoning are a successful form of economic development, and it adds to the quality of life. Planning allows for orderly growth with appropriate infrastructure in place. It allows for us to balance uses and regulate uses to minimize impacts on other uses. Protects the health, safety, and welfare, as well as property values of the community. It is very important that as planners, we work to balance community interest versus personal interest. That is something that we do, and one of the primary reasons behind comprehensive planning is taking a look at all of the interests within a community and making sure that we are appropriately planning for the lessening of impacts on one another. We also spend a lot of our time dealing with the impacts of major projects, like the Amazon project or other things going on over at the airport. The former Marydale site is a great opportunity area. Potential redevelopment of Florence Mall. These are all important developments within our community that will take a lot of community input to make sure that we are balancing the needs of everyone. As a professional staff, we administer and enforce zoning and the zoning regulations and subdivision regulations. We prepare the comprehensive plan. We conduct various planning studies. We manage the county's GIS program. We have an excellent GIS program that I believe has 40 entities and over 800 individual users. So looking ahead in 2023 and beyond, currently our regulations are up. By KRS, noting that we are required to include an element on land use, transportation, community facilities, and then any additional topic as appropriate. Our current goals and objectives are tied to our current document layout. And we are looking to update those goals and objectives within the third or fourth quarter of this year, 2023, and then move on to the elements phase and with hopeful completion by the end of 2024. I keep saying quarter three. Kevin thinks I'm being a bit too ambitious, so we'll say by the end of 2024. We start with these goals and objectives, and we're starting with the hope that we can find a better understanding within the community of what planning is. So education is going to be a big component of what we do throughout this comprehensive planning process. For example, there are significant differences between land use and zoning. And this plays an important role in not only how we move through the comprehensive plan, but how we function on a day-to-day basis at the Planning Commission with respect to zone changes and development. The land use component of the elements in the comprehensive plan is usually kind of the big piece, what everybody wants to focus on. And can you go one more slide? Sorry. Yep, thank you. Sorry, can't see that behind me. But the land use plan is often what gets the most attention, but there's a lot that gets us to the land use plan. Another educational piece that I think is really important to understand about the comprehensive plan and then the land use plan also. This is what you're looking at is the currently adopted future land use plan. So the 2040 future land use plan. In this plan update, what we will be looking to create is updating this map to then be titled the Future Land Use 2045 Plan. Adopting this land use plan does not automatically mean that development will happen in this way. But it does recognize a number of factors to essentially say when the appropriate infrastructure is in place, when the appropriate factors come into play, this is how we believe as a community we should be developing. Our goal with the Plan 2045, which is actually yet to be named, so that's just kind of a placeholder, but our goal is to make the plan, as well as the goals and objectives, more measurable on a digital platform that is more user-friendly than sitting down and reading a 200-page document all the way through. We are looking for increased public input efforts, and this is I could pull out a list for you that's pages long of all of the meetings that we held the last comprehensive plan update. I'd like to see that list even longer and involve more of the community that are not typically as engaged as, say, this group of civically minded individuals. Really reaching out into the community and people where they live. Likely may happen through social media efforts. But we're hoping for a combination of in-person as well as online input. And then again, that educational component. We're also looking to coordinate with kind of topic area experts and their efforts. So for instance, transportation planning. As a planner, I'm not necessarily a transportation expert. However, I know some people who are. And they have some other efforts that are going on within the county and some outside of the county. And our hope is to better link with those efforts that are already going on and make sure that our comprehensive plan, our community vision reflects all of those other efforts that are going on and coordinates with them rather than competes with them. So starting with those goals and objectives, keeping in mind that they are kind of the guiding policies for what is to be in this comprehensive plan. Our goal is to understand what's really happening in the community on high-level topics. And from a room full of involved individuals, I'd like to ask you for a little bit of feedback about what are those major topic areas that you feel may need to be addressed in a comprehensive plan. What topic areas might need to be added or expanded upon, and what might no longer be relevant. Has anybody seen the goals and objectives? It's about 6 pages long. It does follow our document outline. So there's some overall goals: demographics, environment, natural and cultural resources, economy, public facilities, transportation, and then of course, land use. But if anybody is familiar with this document and our efforts, We'd love to hear from you about what might be missing, what might need some more focus or more detail, or what might just be irrelevant. Some topics over time kind of fall to the wayside, or through our planning efforts, we make some achievements as well. So does anybody know enough about the comprehensive plan to jump in and share any thoughts? Anybody?
I don't have any specific knowledge, but I just, traffic surrounding truck stops, and that has the impact that it has on just getting around Boone County.
Meaning you feel it needs to be studied, it needs to be encouraged, it needs to be eliminated. It's a problem. Sorry, if you didn't hear, he said traffic surrounding truck stops.
I'd like to raise a question. I've noticed that the corner of Arrow Parkway and 18, we have a fairly big sub-apartment complexes there. And I noticed that on 18, down near 237, we have another complex that's going up now. Both of those are very dense in comparison to what I have seen in the past. My question is this a trend that we will see going forward, that population places will be more dense, more populated, less green space?
We do see a large push for multifamily in our county, not just in our county, in this region. And my hope is that through some planning efforts in the comprehensive plan, we might be able to have an informed discussion about the benefits of those types of developments, as well as maybe how we could do them differently to mitigate some of the impacts on the immediately surrounding community, but also integrate them better into our community so they are not these kind of siloed developments. We have seen an increase in interest in developing in the multifamily fashion. There is actually a housing study that's in the works right now through the ad district, taking a look at what that market really looks like, as well as kind of focusing on the idea of workforce housing and understanding where are the needs being met, and how do we better plan for those throughout our community. Did I answer your question?
I think so. I get part of that question would be, how do you figure out what the saturation point is for the multifamily housing? Because, and some of the bankers that are in there finance these places, so I'm not saying anything negative about it.
As he side-eyed me.
That's the trick, I think, to figure out, like Amazon, we knew a lot of that was coming, but it's really, there's, a lot of them happening right now that seem to be, to Gary's point, multi, not, I don't know, you would know better than I. How much the one on Houston Road holds that adjoins the Marydale property? How much the one just Hopeful Church looks like a smaller one? That's started.
So the housing study hasn't been completed by the ad district yet. However, I feel as though just as a planner that it's not going to be enough to satisfy the demand, which means we should be taking a close look at how those developments are happening, and at what densities, and if that's being done appropriately for our community. I think on whole, we are generally missing the middle housing, and I'm probably preaching to the choir here when I say this, so I apologize. But, housing, we go from detached single family on acre lots all the way up to skyscraper residential developments, right? In Boone, generally, we have a lot of single family detached, and we have a lot of what they call the garden style apartments, where it's 3 and 4 stories, maybe 20 or 30 units in a building, right? We don't have a whole lot in the middle there. And if we can find a way to have a conversation about how how we include that middle in our community, we would have a wider variety, because this also gets us then into the idea of affordability, which means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And when we talk affordability as planners, we're not necessarily talking about low income or below market rate housing, but we're talking about how do the majority of your citizens afford to live within their own communities, live and work within their own communities. So there's a lot of conversations to be had around multifamily housing, and it does go beyond just multifamily housing and what we're seeing there.
I want to add a couple other things. So Jenna's correct. I mean, we've always been, Boone County's been a major producer of new housing in the last 20 years in North Kentucky. At one time, about 70% of all the new housing was created in Boone County. We're seeing some shifts right now. It's kind of weird because the typical single family detached house, it doesn't seem like the numbers are like the old days where we had up to 1,200 new homes, single family homes built each year. The number has dropped quite a bit. However, you drive along Hathaway Road and you see dirt moving, and you see the extension of Bailey Shannon subdivision, that whole quadrant. I know there was someone that asked me questions about that development and that whole corridor and the improvements to Hathaway Road. Interestingly, when we did the current comp plan, which was adopted in 2019, that corridor was projected to develop, but it wasn't to occur until probably 5 to 10 years from now. But what's happened is Bailey Shannon extended the sewer. And then, as you know, when sewer gets extended, it moves, it creates density. And so between that and the schools being built in that area with Bailey Shannon and Cooper, et cetera, there's been more increase in that corridor. Let me jump back. So single family is actually, unless you live in Triple Crown and you want to buy $1 million home, those are still being built these days. But we're not seeing the typical starter home anymore because there's no starter home builders anymore, and which is very sad. I think it'll come back at some point, but it's not there yet. We're seeing, a couple of years ago, we saw a huge increase in senior housing. We even talked about that. And we're still a relatively young community, a lot of families, but that segment of the population is really growing. And so that's why you're seeing, in some cases, larger senior facilities, assisted living and independent living. Then you're seeing some niches, some smaller buildings or developments for senior housing. So right now, the hot thing is continue to be senior housing as well as apartments. And again, if people are coming here to work and they want to work and live in the same community, there's not a lot of options. And so what we're doing, so we're taking a deeper dive on the housing situation that we have and what's the future of that. And geographically, where is that going to be? Good example of that is Graves Road interchange just opened up. There was no residential zoning in that area. And so obviously we did the Graves Road study, which recommended some residential development. One project we just approved up in that area. So we're going to be as Jenna said, we're going to kind of study that overall regional study, and again, how it impacts us, and then looking at our numbers. We'll quantify where we are and how many units have been built since the last update. Do we have enough land that's zoned residential? I would say yes, we do. And again, the question is, do we have it at the locations where they should be, the areas where it should be? And it's also tied with, I know someone mentioned green space. No doubt about it, that's very important. Even with the multi-use or the multi-family developments, we want to make sure that they have their own recreation space on site. And we have a lot of new development that's going to have that type of stuff, but also how that interacts with the other parks, whether it be a city park or a county park. again, those things are all related. So I just want to add that. See what happens? And there's the guy that asked me about Hathaway. Yes, Brad, I'll go to Brad.
High profile over the next 2-3 year, high profile road projects, new parks, items like that are coming.
High profile. Where's the judge?
It's over by the fireplace.
It's out by the fireplace. Well, by the way, Brad, I'm transparent here. Brad is a former board member, so certainly we miss him. Good question. In fact, if you notice, obviously the last couple of years, there's been some major road construction work going on. In fact, if you haven't, everyone loves Mount Zion Road now. Everyone loves Pleasant Valley Road, man. It's like a Autobahn. And by the way, the sheriff will give you one free pass on that. But a lot of roads, and I know a lot of people are very mad about Richwood Road, but it has to be finished for it to have the full effect. And you won't come and thank me once it's finished, but I'm just telling you, it's got to be finished, and there's more coming. We have Donaldson Road being rebuilt right now, widened to the airport. We have Mineola Pikes widened. If you haven't been out there, it looks totally different. And we're looking at things like the interchange. The judge just stood up, so that means he wants to talk about it. Come on up, Judge. Come on up.
Since some people are online. But yeah, you share what? No. I think the point that we should make here is that the transportation plan that was last updated in 2017, 2018, that's a component of the comp plan. And that in-depth transportation plan that was done with consultants, that is a piece of the comp plan. Now, will there be discussions and changes, during the comp plan, maybe additions to mentions of transportation? Yes. Donaldson's been let to regular construction. Mineola's Eaton asphalt should be completed later this year, early next. The other projects you're pretty much aware of. The one that I was just asked about by Don is the Central Parkway. That's the road that goes parallel to Camp Ernst Road. It'll go from the roundabout at Pleasant Valley, following Camp Ernst to Verona, a Central Parkway through the middle of the county. So those are the kind of things that are in the transportation plan. It's online, by the way. You can look at those things. But that's what we'll be wanting input on along the way. This is their presentation. I'm going to get out of the way. But something that I do think is important is to point out who is responsible for the different phases. For instance, the fiscal court, the city of Florence, we will set the goals and objectives, and then we kind of get out of the way. And the planning commission actually does most of the comp plan update. So those 15 appointed commissioners with staff's leadership is really the ones that are doing the comp plan, several of the comp plan components. But the governing bodies do the goals and objectives. We really want to see more transparency and openness to that process. All of the processes, really. And that's something I heard from the 3 commissioners when we had our strategic planning session back in January. Every 4 years, we have one of those when we start a new term. And I heard loud and clear, they want more citizen engagement. That means you and others, your friends and business leaders in this comp plan process. But why don't you explain who's responsible for the different phases of the comp plan?
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate the clarification. Yes, the goals and objectives themselves are adopted by each of the 4 legislative bodies. From that point, we can then begin work on the elements of the comprehensive plan, which is essentially the rest of the plan. And that is then adopted by the Boone County Planning Commission. So that is where the majority of the work happens, while our elected bodies set the vision and set us in the right direction to be doing the work to then fulfill those goals and objectives.
Jenna, I got to follow up on here, talking about earlier with the trucks and so forth. The truck stop off the Richwood exit, that's closed, right? It's going to be reopened.
Yes.
All right, because that seems to have put a lot of load onto the 18 exit, and that's really backed up. In fact, that makes for a mess. So that's going to reopen, right? And that's, did I hear the Secret Garden, the floral shop that's in the corner of 25, and that property's been sold? Is that going to be a truck stop?
No. It's a fuel, it's a gas station, regular gas station.
Regular, not.
Yeah, it sells diesel. There's a couple pumps, but it's not a truck parking lot, none of that stuff.
It's not a pile, it's not.
No,
Bob's,
no,
it's not,
nope.
Casey's or something that's.
No, in fact, the company that's going there, we worked with them because remember that's as you go east in Kenton County, you go by Tobin Drive, you have a FedEx. A lot of trucks will go in there, but they can't park. There's no parking.
It's not a big truck.
Nope.
Travel.
No, it's not a Buc-ee's. People think it's a Buc-ee's. It's not a Buc-ee's. No, they're not. I know you like the brisket there, Judge, but.
And the bathrooms.
And the bathrooms, but yes, I'm gonna turn it back over to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I can get my dog park back.
Do we know the timeline of the dog park reopening?
Which dog? Oh. Yeah, Matthew.
Oh, there he is. Hi, happy birthday.
Yes, they are working right now. They've got a contractor that will grade. They've got the fencing already awarded in a bid, so that'll be coming back this spring for early summer.
Spring, early summer.
Bring us up to date on the Weaver Road project.
The Weaver Road project?
From 42.
You know about sidewalks?
You mean the sidewalks?
Yeah, redoing that stretch of road from 42 back to the fire station. Sidewalks.
There's some funding, there's some
The funding's
funding, it's
been-
joint funding. It's not the funding that's the issue. So the state passed a rule that you have to use a certified inspector, which is more than the grant amount that was awarded. So there's some stuff we're working on with Frankfurt on getting the inspection approved. That's where we're at.
Timetable.
The funding is there. It's on our schedule to start this spring. That's assuming that the inspection portion of the project is worked out.
Thank you, Josh.
The Reverend from Virginia.
Yeah, thanks. We rolled over.
16 into one and a 15 into two.
All right. Hopeful Church Road was done in 96, started in 96. It is a major choke point, and we're still putting massive high-density neighborhoods around it. It's a mess. And I keep hearing there's no plan for it. It's got to be planned for it sometime. And that jug handle, that was a mistake, wasn't it? That is a disaster. So somewhere these things have got to be talked about.
Noted.
Noted.
Noted. I haven't seen anything on either our transportation plan or even in the comprehensive plan right now. The residential developments that are kind of somewhat close to that really utilize more of the Graves Road interchange than that Petersburg interchange there.
Well,
So
we've got high density.
am I?
Right there off of Hogan.
I'm thinking Bulletsville Church. Sorry, wrong area. I apologize. So noted. I don't know of any roadway improvements in the works yet, but it's.
You have one accident out there on the interstate, and you're not moving around the corner.
Yeah.
And Hopeful Church is, I mean, it'll be backed up from 18 all the way to 42.
It's certainly something that is worthy of some pretty significant discussion throughout this
Okay.
process and others.
Well, you would be able to answer a couple questions after
Sure,
this?
absolutely.
Great. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Jenna, we thank you from the Rotary Club. It's always loved to see a standing room only crowd, which we had today, right? And it's a good topic, and it's important for us to remember this stuff because that's what we're all about. We want to give you a little thing about timing. Timing is everything for planning. Timing is everything for Rotary. Take that, Kevin. I'm going to
Thank
give you one. Thank you. And I thank you both very much. You're a great program.
Thank you. I had to work with the planning commission many times when I was on the school board. They are fair and objective. If you want to, we also have a personal connection here. Our beloved Kim Bunger was a member of the planning commission forever and ever. And if you ever spoke to a more decent and good guy, Kim was one of those guys. And he believed in Kevin, as do I. And they're very, very fair and objective. And if you have the guts, if you have the credentials to step up to volunteer for this group, if you're pregnant with thoughts and pregnant with ideas and it's not truly just gas, at least see if you can be on that. But finally, I'd like to, this young lady, they have the toughest job, bar none. I had to go to so many public meetings where Kevin was called many different things. It wasn't necessarily Kevin. I even heard, I thought Goofy was having a salad, but I hadn't seen that. But they do a great job, and they've been so good with the school system as to projections on where people are going to move and where they're going to live. So thank you guys for being here.
All right. I'm going to jump on to what Sean said, and as the public library director here in Boone County, I work with the Planning Commission quite a bit. They are excellent in what they do, and they're always happy to answer my questions and work with me.
They said they would take some extra questions.
Yes. So just a reminder, next Monday we are here in this building. March 27th, it will be the Teacher of the Year celebration, something that I always look forward to. So come ready to hear some real inspiring stories about what these teachers are doing with the students in Boone County. And with that, have a great week.